you would not jump on a plane if the pilot did not understand his or her dials in their cockpit, right?
Totally.
Yet we're flying the plane of our businesses every day, not understanding those dials.
Mics are hot, Randy.
Mics are hot. Let's get at it.
Let's get at it, baby. Good to see you, dude. Thanks for jumping on.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, good to be on. I look forward to this.
Yeah, I love it. I always like to do a little intro here. And I think specifically it's important for what you're doing over at 4Level. Go ahead and give the listeners a little background on yourself, what 4Level is all about, and we'll use that to kick off the convo.
Yeah. Little bit about myself. I mean, what's interesting, I started my first business in 95. So it goes back a few years now. We're 30 years into this thing now.
I was 1 year old.
You were 1 year old?
Yeah, I had to.
How great is that?
Yeah.
Shit. That's a long time, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Okay.
You know,
Jabs over. Go ahead.
Jabs over. Well, what's interesting about it is back in the day, it took me about 3 years to know enough to know I didn't know nearly enough. And, I started to get some help, started working with a business coach. It took me 9 years to get myself removed from my core business. That business ran and operated without me for the next 10 years. I was paid extremely well during that time. And then I went and started another business and then another business after that. And I continued to do the same thing that I figured out during that, that time frame from 98 to 2007. 2017, I sold that first core business. And what I realized when I sold it is it's extremely rare what I pulled off to be removed from the business for 10 years while it ran and operated without me. And I was able to go start another business and another one. And so the reason I bring that up is 4Level Coach has been built from what I pulled off, what I figured out. And what we share today is how to do exactly that for builders and remodelers. And, it's what I think we all want. We all want ultimate freedom of time and money. 4Level Coach is a success system that has been built from what I did in my businesses along the way. And so our team has been built under this 4Level success system to share what we do with builders and remodelers that really are highly ambitious, self-driven, action-taking entrepreneurs who want more for themselves, their families, their life, and their business, right? And if they want that, then we have the system, the steps to do it. And we love transforming lives. So that's kind of why we exist and why we're here.
Dude, I love it. And I have not done what you've done. But when I was at Builder Trend, I built their on-site consulting service with a couple of others. And the standardizing of business processes to the point of getting for a business owner or just even partners, individuals to remove themselves from the business is crucial. And to your point of like what you were able to do in a 9-year period, ultimately remove yourself from the business and build other businesses is extremely rare. What is it? Like, what is the key component to getting that done?
Oh man, what the one thing or like the
okay. We can do a theme.
Yeah.
Theme, right?
No, it's very cool. I like where that that conversation can go, right? And the truth is, that 9 year, what I figured out in 9 years, we can help people do now, and really a 3 year. We have a kind of a 3 year success system. It does take. Hey, others will take 5-6 years. Some will take 2 years. Right. But, you can do it in 3 to 4 years for sure. And what is it? So what is it really? In a nutshell, we wrote the book, The 10 Reasons Builders Remodelers Fail to Grow. Right. So
love it.
That
10 reasons why.
Yeah. Beautiful. The 10 Reasons Why Builders Remodelers Fail to Grow. It's on Amazon. You can grab it, Google my name, whatever. Right. But the point is what's really clear to me is that unless we get those 10 reasons dealt with, and if we can solve those, then we can package this and get to that level, right? That's possible. Now, lots of guys are going to say, and listening to this, well, I don't want to remove myself from the business. And that's not the intention of this. The intention is that you have a business that can run and operate without you. You don't have to. It's nice to have a choice in what we do, right? My thing was, look, I didn't want to go lie on a beach, right? That wasn't my intention. I wanted to get freed up because I had other desires, passions, to go and that I needed to get focused on, because that's what drives me. I want to be challenged by, what I can build next, sort of thing, right? So, but what is it? So the 10 reasons. If we don't have a clear vision, we're not going to get there, right? If we don't know where we're going, we can drive around in circles. We'll never get there, right? It starts with vision to me always. The other real key thing is we need some financial literacy, right? We have to understand our numbers. We have to be pricing projects, our jobs profitably, or else we'll never be able to build the teams around us or hire the A players that we need. So it's a combination of knowing the financial side of our business, having business savvy, and getting ourselves off of what we call it, transitioning you from being a contractor to an entrepreneurial leader, right?
Love it. So
business savvy, financial literacy. We need to be able to get our time right. We refer to it as time mastery. If I'm running in circles and I'm not leveraging my time properly, I will never get there, right? I have to get really, really dialed in on how do I leverage my time, and then on top of that, how do I delegate? How do I trust and let go? Right? Big challenge for a lot of this industry is being able to trust and let go. Right? That's a key component.
Wait, why do you think that is? I don't mean to derail you because this is great, but it's so true. It's like, even if you had the chance in the operation of the business that was running itself, could you even let go? And I would say most builders struggle with that, like you just said. Why is that, do you think?
It's I think because we believe, first off, that there's nobody else that can do it as good as we can. I mean, I had a conversation with a gentleman this morning about that, right? So if I believe in my mindset that no one can do it as good as I can, how do I trust someone else to do it? How do I trust and then let that go for somebody else to do it? Because, I'm the only one that can do this, right? Now, the fact of the matter is that if you're able to trust and let go, well, there's a number of components that we need to be able to trust and let go. First of all, we need a team of A players. If we have C players, that's why I can't trust and let go, because I got a C player that I have attempted this with before and it went for a shit. And therefore, I'm no longer wanting to try that again. And I'm like, no, this doesn't work, and I'm out.
It's not only reasonable, it's probably a good idea to not trust and let go in that circumstance.
Correct. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
If I get the right player in place, that's great. The other thing is, if I haven't built the system and trained someone properly, they're not doing it the way I want it done. Therefore, I'm looking at them pissed off, but really I should look in the mirror and say, well, damn, I didn't give them the tools to be successful.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
So if I've tried it in the past and it didn't work, then the past is dictating my future, and we've got to get rid of that too, because we can't, just because something didn't work before doesn't mean it won't work again. It just means we have to change what we did.
Yeah. Totally. Do you think part of that's because there's so much risk in not only just like starting and running a business, but so much risk in construction, that letting the past dictate the future, or that closed-mindedness that I tried this before and it doesn't work, therefore it'll never work mentality seeps in?
Well, sure. I mean, it's much safer if I just do it myself, because I know and I can trust myself, so I'll just do it. But the more that I do that, the more I'm stuck on the hamster wheel.
Yes.
Right? So I hit a ceiling, I'm stuck on the hamster wheel. And the truth is, when I'm that busy, I don't have time to build the system or to get the training in place. So we always say, look, there's three things we need. One is profit before growth. I think far too many try to grow and they don't know their numbers are not profitable, yet we're trying to grow something that's not really making money. We hope that we're going to make money one day once we get bigger, right? And that is, just means to disaster. So we've got to get pricing and profitability right before we grow. Second thing is we need to get the systems before people, right? But we don't have time to get the systems, and I mean systems, the training, the structure around somebody being successful. So I throw people at my problem, and it creates more chaos, frustration, and overwhelm because I didn't set them up to be successful. Therefore, I get pissed off because they're not doing the things I want done. And then I go, well, this doesn't work.
Totally.
Right? So that happens. And then the third thing is we need to get the how before the what. As builders or modelers, we're focused on the what. It's what we know. It's the what I refer to as it's the job. It's the job site. It's the build. It's the construction. It's what I'm comfortable with. So I focus on the what, but the how is what people will pay more for. The how is the client experience. The how is the system. The how is everything else that makes the what go to another level.
Totally.
That makes sense?
It totally does. So profit before growth,
systems before people,
and then how
the
before
how
what.
before the what. Now, if you get those things right in the right order, then you have a completely transformed business and ability to grow and scale. And our job is to help people piece that together, understand what that is, and then take the right steps in the right order. And when you say, how do you get yourself removed from your business one day to have a scalable, sellable business? It's all of those things done extremely well. And then making sure we have a marketing machine that's feeding us consistent, predictable leads. It's making sure that we have a sales system that's, again, predictable and consistent, that we can remove ourselves, train somebody else to do this actually better than you can sell, which is hard for us to imagine because nobody else can sell like we can typically. Right. But when you get the parts and the machines all working and they're dialed in, those are solving the 10 reasons. And another big one that you guys focus on is the metrics, right? So another one is I need to know the KPIs of my business. I need to be on top of my numbers. I need to understand the needle movers in my business so that I can track. Look, I cannot improve what I don't measure. I don't track. So what I measure and gets tracked gets improved. So all of this stuff is extremely hard because at the end of the day, we don't have the bandwidth and time to focus on doing it. So all of this goes back to my own personal time management and how I leverage that.
Totally. I thought that was beautiful, Randy. And I say that I literally just had a conversation with Chloe Brown about this. And it's been coming up like very commonly on this podcast is like, if you don't know your margin, I frame it this way. Like, if you don't know if you're making money on what you're scaling, why are you scaling it? Right. And that's like knowing your profit before your growth. It's like, it was just absolutely plagued the US and builders in the last 5 years, really, right? From COVID, like COVID immediately, like it was super, super rough, volatile commodity markets. You got your lumbers, your supply chains off the roof. You can't scale for it. A lot of people got burnt on that, but there were a hell of a lot of builders that caught a lot of opportunity with inventory shortages, people at home, remodeling homes, building homes, right? With interest rates as low as they were, there was a huge opportunity for people to go out and double the size of their business. And they turn around after a 12, 18 month build cycle of doubling their business, looking at their profit margin or what they actually netted. And they were like, I didn't make any more money doubling my top line than I did where I was originally at. Like, I'm going to go back and like do it.
Yeah.
It's because they didn't know what they were scaling, right? They didn't know their profit before their growth, right? It's like, you wouldn't imagine Apple going out and creating billions of iPhones if they didn't know to the decimal of a penny what their margin was going to be on that unit, right? Like, that's of course like an obnoxious reason, but I think like it all makes a lot of sense.
The metaphor of that, I think we all get and understand it. That's simplistic, right? And the challenge in this business, as you said, these are long sales cycles, long build cycles. Chatting with a client this morning, I mean, it takes it takes a year to 2 years to turn around bad pricing if we're a custom builder, because we've got projects that we have on the go that might not be priced well, right? We have priced jobs recently that haven't started yet that are going to start soon that are a year, 18-month projects that we're tied into already. And then if we start changing our pricing today, it takes, the sales cycle to close and then to get that project started. And the new pricing starts kicking in when the old stuff ends. So it's like a year to 2 year process to start feeling the effects of new, improved, higher level pricing that will turn the business around. Right?
Totally. I like just immediately go to like, I just see bloat in that, even like in a like even a more day-to-day operational standpoint, meaning like it's really like these time horizons that it takes for these problems to surface and then have the information you need to act on them, to like start weeding it out. To your point, is like it could be a year. Like I could be bidding a project and I could have 3 projects going right now, and I'm bidding stuff on the project that I haven't quite crossed right now with my current project, or I just did and I didn't take that into consideration. Well, I just got a bid signed on that. Right now, I'm locked into those numbers to where if I would have been seeing my data in real time, I probably could have circumnavigated that poor pricing and got ahead of it.
Yep.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, and obviously, like I'm biased towards adaptive on that, because like that's the entire intention of using AI to automate bookkeeping and construction accounting, is that you can have the immediacy in your data, because you're not building a project, finish with a project, and then decide to bid another one. You're constantly bidding, constantly building, constantly moving this pipeline. What are you seeing builders do to shorten that timeline or that feedback loop to understanding their numbers to prevent that type of situation? Well, bidding a bad project, having pricing have to work itself out. Go ahead.
I mean, your comment about being biased on adaptive, I think is, whether you're biased on adaptive or you're not, adaptive is quite simply an answer to that, right? Like,
right.
Yes, I get that you're biased to it, but adaptive is the answer to that. That is what needs to be done. The other, of course, is if we are using, like you mentioned, Builder Trend earlier, Job Trend, Resio, Builder, whatever the software is that we are using to grow, scale our business. I think far too often, I just see it being underutilized, right? It's
always,
it's 30%. Typically we see anywhere from, I'm going to say 25 to 35% that we are using the capabilities of it. And so if we want to do this, we need to be using a much bigger percentage of the software and the system the way it was designed to be used. Again, I go back to, look, and it's no fault of the builder out there. The challenge is there's hundreds of moving parts every day. We're being pulled in a million different directions. The challenge is we're trying to do more of it ourselves and trying to keep up with it because we feel like we can't afford the help that we need to do this, or we're not even sure what to necessarily do with that help if I were to get freed up, right? So it's a real big challenge. And I'll go back to the fact of our 10 reasons and that business savviness. The financial literacy and business savvy, those two things are the key to all of it, because as soon as you have business savviness, and again, it's no fault of the builder, because typically a builder becomes a builder or a remodeler because they were skilled, right? Skilled at what they did. They're great hands, great skill, so knowledgeable on site, and that's where my comfortability is. But the trouble is, if that's how I lead and grow my business, I'm going to run into challenges because I'm not thinking of the business savviness stuff or the financial literacy required to make decisions in this business, to decide that it's I need adaptive, and adaptive, the return on my investment with adaptive is like, it's such a no-brainer that I should be doing that. I might not be coming from the place of an entrepreneurial mindset.
Right. You might not understand that that's the potential, or that kind of goes back to like needing the clear vision, right? It's like you might not even understand that that's what you need, but it's no slight to the builder because it's like that's not necessarily their wheelhouse, or they haven't spent the time or felt the pain to move into that world of thinking, is what I typically see.
Yeah, well, and let's touch on vision for a moment. I think most of us, well, this is just simple human nature. Our vision to think beyond what we've currently done is extremely difficult. So to go with a bigger vision than what we think is possible based on where we've been and where we are today, so the past is dictating our ability to think of a vision greater than where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you put that into context, it's like, look, it's taken me 10 years to get to here, and I'm doing 2 million in sales, 2 million in revenue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always ask the question, where do you want to be in the next, 3 to 5 years? And the answer is typically, hey, I'd like to get to, maybe double that. Maybe I can get to 4 million, but it's typically like, maybe I'm doing another $1 million in the next 3 years, right?
Really interesting. Okay.
And the truth is, it's like, it might have taken you 10 years to get to here, but when we move forward, or when you put the 4-level success system into play, you start dealing with these 10 reasons. You start exponentially multiplying what's possible, right? It's no longer, 10 years to get to 2. It's, we've done this several times. And at the end of the day, it's possible to get to 10 million in the next 3 to 5, but it's so beyond our imagination of thinking that we end up with this really small vision. Now, a small vision, all that I have to do is just keep showing up the way I've already showed up. Nothing really has to change in order to get to that incremental vision. So my vision isn't big enough to actually move the needle and make the changes that I need to make.
Totally.
Right? If I have a bigger vision, then I have to move the needle today if I'm ever going to get there. So I've got to get more serious about the actions that I take. The actions are driven by our vision. But if I have a small vision, I'll take no freaking action.
Totally.
No new action.
Yeah.
I won't invest in adaptive. I'm not going to put the time and money into that because I don't really need to get to my vision. My vision is small enough that I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Vision is critical.
Do you think there's anything
real
wrong
growth
with that?
And scalability.
Do you think there's anything wrong with that?
Anything wrong with what?
With not necessarily like not having like a big enough vision.
Well, there's something
not a big
wrong
enough
with
vision
it
to motivate change.
More, if you want more than what you currently have, yes, there's something drastically wrong with that because you will always only have what you already have if you don't have a big enough vision.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with it if what you have and where you're at is what you want, right? If you're cool with your life and your lifestyle and the time that you spend in that business and the frustration, most are frustrated about their time and their lifestyle and the 60 plus hours a week that they work. So if I want that to change, yes, that's a problem. If I'm okay with that, then no, that's fine.
Totally. I always think about this, and I think like from a vision standpoint, do you think that vision should be as like simple and pointed as possible as it should, like, and I'm thinking about this tactically for the listener, right? Because like this makes a ton of sense. Like if you don't have the vision, you're not going to be motivated and you're not going to have the clarity to make like take action. But I think a lot of people, they kind of get
the right action.
And that's what I'm saying.
This is the difference though, too. I want to make sure that that's clear, right? Because this industry takes more action and works harder. Like it's not about more action, it's the right action. And I know you and I are on page with that. I just want to make sure for the listener that makes sense.
Totally.
Like this is the hardest working industry on the planet. It's not about action. Just clear that up.
Yeah, it's about the right action. And that's where I think like going back even like the simplicity of the vision, right? Is like having a clear, simple vision of I'm tired of working the 60-hour weeks in my business. I want to scale back into 40 or 20. Do you see that as being like reasonable, maybe like baby steps? into a bigger vision? Or do you think that people should be saying like, I want to be $10 million a year at a 30% net on a remodeling business, and I want to be completely removed and just do this like big package deal vision? What do you suggest when people are struggling with this?
That's a great question. I think it has to be done in incremental steps because we cannot wrap our mind around it. Our job is to help people wrap their mind around it. And how this typically works is, one, we need courage. We need the courage to think bigger than we are already. And it takes real courage, because I've got to, if I'm true to that, I've got to do things different that is going to make me extremely uncomfortable. Right. So I got to have the courage to have a vision that goes beyond my current capabilities. Right. If I have that vision, I have to make commitment now to that vision. So if I can go beyond, and I mean, we don't have to go to 10 million. Let's go a little further than our doubling of size. Let's go to triple. Let's say, call it 5 million from 2, and say, I can do 5 and 3. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm also going to work not 60 hours. I'm going to get down to, 30. Maybe I'll cut that in half. Maybe could I get to 30? And believe me, all of it's 100% possible, but our mind has to be able to think that. But we have to have enough courage to, believe in it and think it and go after it. We got to make commitment to it. Now, we don't have the capability, and nor does our team. And that's the beautiful part. You don't have to. You've got to be able to make commitment to the vision, and then your team, then every action we take, everything that we're moving towards, every needle mover in the business, when I'm talking not just action, but needle moving action, actually builds ourselves and our team's capability that then gives us more confidence to believe in a bigger vision again. So it's incremental steps towards a bigger and bigger vision, but we got to go beyond. It starts with courage. We got to make commitment. We got to get our confidence based on our new capabilities.
Yeah.
And then that will fuel more courage.
Yes. It'll almost like just kind of like create an environment of the process that you had just outlined. Right. Yeah, it's like once you it's just momentum, right? It's like an adaptive, even like, it's like we have a ton of momentum right now as an organization internally, right? Sales pipeline exploding, product humming, like engineers ripping, like you can feel it in the organization. This isn't even a remote environment, right? Point being is like, that's because like the vision was clear, like leadership was committed to it. We started to drive and had the courage to go after what it was going to take to get there. And now we've accomplished it. And now
you've increased capability along the way. You did not have the capability to do what the vision was in the first place, but you're increasing capability now, right? And you're getting that momentum, which then kicks in confidence. And the fact, my guess is your team is more confident than it's ever been before.
Incredibly. Night and day. You look at this organization from 12 months ago and it is a completely different organization. It's incredible.
Bingo. You just hit the nail on the head of what happens. So when you join 4-Level Coach and you join our ecosystem and our success system of everything we just talked about, to this is the stuff that has to shift. You make this bigger step. You make the commitment. You increase capability. You get more confidence. You increase his courage. I can then think bigger, and then the engine turns. We call it the success wheel. When this success wheel, this flywheel is starting to take action, like you're seeing with Adaptive, what you just explained is exactly how it works, builder remodeler world, when they get that. This is when you can go from 2 million to 10 so much faster than you ever believed possible, because your world is completely transformed. You said your business does not look like it does. It didn't feel like it. The confidence, 12 months.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Imagine you do that quarter after quarter, year after year, and the momentum that kicks in 3 years from now, you're off the charts.
Totally. 100%. And I think that is like an important piece. And then I think like even like bring it back into like the tactical bit. I for whatever reason, like this is resonating with me. I hope I'm not just like ripping the e-brake on this. We can jump back if we need to.
Yeah, no, but go, man.
But I think like part of what prevents this momentum from happening is the day-to-day, right? Because it's like one thing to listen to a podcast, a couple of guys that have seen it, that have executed on it, right? And like, of course, we can get excited and like, yes, this is what it is. But then for the guy that's in the truck, that's driving to the job site, that's working 60 hours a week, getting his ass kicked by all the day-to-day stuff that's happening, is like, I think part of it from a solution standpoint is going back to your comment of the 25 to 30% of these products that get used comment. And I have been saying for like years at Builder Trend, even products like Job Tread, people bark about price at Procore, right? I say all these companies have been priced so low comparative to the value that they could potentially bring. Like, that is my God's honest truth. Like, if you're actually using Job Tread the way that Job Tread can be used, if you're actually using Builder Trend or Adaptive or whatever to the fullest, like those upfront costs are truly like pennies compared to what they do. But I saw it at Builder Trend, 25, 30% usage. And you sit here and you scratch your head like, why are people not motivated more to start leveraging these systems and processes, capturing data on their businesses to actually start getting out of this momentum? Okay.
So what do you think the reason is? Like, and I've got my belief around it, and I'm curious of yours.
So I think that like 5 years ago, I would have answered this of like, you've got a market that's like primarily resistant to tech. I was probably close about 10 years ago. Like right when I started at Builder Trend, and I like, mind you, I was like 300th around their employee. They've got 800 employees now. They had like, I don't know, maybe like 10,000 customers. I think now they're like 25,000. Just to like kind of give you a perspective. And like Builder Trend was like, this was before Job Tread. This was before all that. I mean, you'd call builders and they'd be like, I'm not running software, right? There was like that resistant to software. But now as I start to see like the number of competitors, the Resios, the build tools, the build books, the Builderns, the builder pads, the whatever, insert project management software, dime a dozen, as it always comes down to like user interface and ability to adopt. And I think that now you've got an industry of builders that are comfortable and familiar and have been sold and bought and shifted and changed software. But it's so challenging for them to get their business to adopt it that it prevents them from ever fully ingraining it. And the people that do adopt it really well, totally bought in, use every feature as much as they can, they see a ton of value out of it. And they're like, this is totally invaluable, right? But that's my answer is I think it's the products that are available are extremely difficult to adopt from a functionality and a process and a piecing together standpoint, and it's easy to lose sight of it. And it's probably because there aren't sound business processes in place before. So they're biting off so much at the beginning and the front end of these processes of, I've got this really cool piece of software now that is basically providing a framework for me to execute workflows in, but I don't have those workflows today in place.
Mm-hmm.
That's my take.
To me, a 100,000% nail on the head. And this is exactly why at 4Level, when I'm looking at how we help people become as successful as possible to get to the absolute pinnacle and peak, which is a level 4 business in our world, that sellable business that removes yourself from day to day. The thing is peak, it's flowing, it's profitable, it's, it's a well-oiled machine, right? So simply put, in order to get there, systems and software is a critical key component. It's one of the 10 reasons, systems and software. Without it, you will get to a certain point, but you will not get beyond that, right? So what we realized is there was a massive gap in how much people are using their software and how well they use it, and then the adoption, you said adoption of their team, right? So we created 4Level integrators. So we are integrating these project management software solutions into businesses that once that happens, it's a whole new world, right? But it's completely built out. It's a done for you type system because they don't have time to build it. They don't have time. We're also not like, if you ask me to build it, it ain't happening. That's not my expertise. That's not. But if I'm on job site, I'm a builder mindset to start with. I'm trying to be an entrepreneurial mindset. I'm trying to shift from that, right? Transition from contractor to entrepreneur.
Right.
And now you want me to become a software expert as well and set that. That's completely ridiculous. I also don't think if unless you're a marketing expert, you should be focused on your marketing. So, we need to get the help we need, and then we need to get our teams to adopt it. The challenge with that, in a large part, is the training, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, now we've got to be trained, and our team's got to be held accountable, right? So, we believe in a role called the system CIA. The CIA is creator, implementer, and accountability. That's what it stands for. But we need to do the same thing with our software. It's the, creating the software to be leveraged and used the way it should be. Following, and I don't believe in just standardized templates that, we can get anywhere, because those workflows, they're not, that's not how you run your business. It's not how you think, and it'll get you, maybe halfway home, and then you're going to be pissed off because it doesn't work for you the way you think and how you operate, right? So we have to customize our workflows, and it's been a game changer, our whole integration side. And I mean, it's like, it is so busy too, and they're just going full tilt doing this constantly for clients. It's but it's also, I love what you said, right?
The need is there.
5-10 years ago, this wasn't as big a deal. Everyone pretty well gets today that this is a critical component, and it needs to be there. And we just got to take it over the edge. We got to go further with it. Totally.
And I think, when it comes to like the integrator side, like that was a lot of what we were doing at Builder Trend with the on-site consulting service. It was like me, Daniel Martinez, who's actually at Adaptive now on our customer success side. And then Brett Jones, he's still at Builder Trend. But we would do like 60 consultations a year is what we would call them. It was like a 60-day service. You would like do pre-work. You would go out for 2 days. You would sit down with them, help them implement, identify SOPs, head back 60 days of rollout, building workflow charts and like how people actually execute and move through the business. And it would still be like a tough adoption.
Tough adoption.
Do you
That's
see
why
that?
you got to work. We have to work with them and their teams after the adoption, or it typically will fall off the table and again, not use it as well as they could. They'll go way further, but they're still not getting the full value.
Yep.
Right. Of that, that tool, we need to look at our software as one of the most important tools in our toolbox. I mean, we've got a lot of important tools, but there's not one that's much more important than that.
Yeah. Well, and I think like that's like, to me, it seems like a goofy cliche, but it's so accurate as like the tool in the toolbox. And I think it's goofy because like we sell to contractors, right? And we work with contractors, and they're kind of like, okay, yeah, software. But it's like, dude, seriously, are you going to try and drive screws with a hammer? Like the answer is like obnoxiously no, right? Like that is totally ridiculous. And it's like the guys that you're talking about, like in the field who are like tradesmen, craftsmen, decades of experience, like that's where they go and then they get the leap of faith to start their own business. It's like, if you're not viewing establishing process, if you're not viewing applying and adopting software, if you're not viewing that as any more important than, am I using a Phillips head screwdriver on a Phillips screw, or am I using what is it? Is it torque, or what's the weird heck? Whatever, right? A wrong screwdriver on the screw, right? I'm not a contractor. Point being is like that would be ridiculous in any other component of your world, but when it comes to software, like it gets devalued on. And then that's where I say, like, in terms of, I'm super bullish and excited about like the innovation and the disruption and the moves that products are making, because I think there's a huge opportunity for project management solution to become more compelling. Honestly, like I think right now it's I struggle with this, and actually I want your take on this. I actually think I have someone. I talked to someone this morning. I need to get an answer back to him. I'm connecting with another builder, but he was like, I talked to Builder Trend, I talked to Rezio, I've talked to Job Trend. Like literally, he's talking about project management tools. He's pretty stoked about Adaptive, but he's like, how does all of it play together? And like, how should I go about shopping and choosing and deciding project management software? I always come at a loss, not necessarily a loss, but it's like, it's a nuanced answer, because they're all very similar, but they all do certain things differently, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, so some of them are known, like Co-Construct and Buildertrend were the historic competition, right? It's like Co-Construct was known for having tighter financials. Buildertrend was notorious for having better project management, right? That was an easy delineation for people to make the comment on. There was really two people to choose from, Co-Construct, Buildertrend. Now you're off. Now when you're kind of flooded with all these different solutions, how do you go about that, Randy? How would you handle that conversation? How do you choose JobTread over Buildertrend over Procore over Rezio over whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward today in terms of just how do you enjoy the user interface? Is it really at the end of the day, you have to find it easy enough for you to use, not so complex that you can't use it, right? Or don't want to use it. Your team won't want to use it. What we find as well is even, Buildertrend will do certain things one way, and, somebody moves from Buildertrend to JobTread and their whole world blows up because JobTread doesn't do things and think that it's almost like I got to rethink backwards as to the way I thought before, right? But at the end of the day, I don't give a shit what software you use. Use the software to its fullest potential, and you will, like, because they all are going to have their nuances, but they will all get the same outcome, right? So at the end of the day, you're going to get the same outcome. I think as well, it depends what size are you, what sort of enterprise level are we looking at? Are we, our commercial side, of course, Procore is the Cadillac, and if you over in the small builder remodeler world, there's certainly, the JobTread's flying off the shelves and Buildertrend's struggling because they're keeping price point up. And, but the larger custom builder, is going to be the Buildertrend fan, right? So to me, again, I don't really, doesn't matter which one you use it fully, get dialed in. And, I would say the components that I think we also need to look at, though, is the support. Customer support is so critical for them, right? Like, we'll do full integrations of the software. So you need a lot less support if you work with 4-level on the integration side, because it's all going to be built out and done for you, and then we'll train you through it. But if you're not doing something like that with anyone, then you're going to need the customer support in a big way, right? So, I think if you're choosing software, you need to be looking at the customer support size and what side and what's available and how deep and how far they go with you.
Totally. I couldn't agree more. I mean, that was like, so when I started Buildertrend, I was on the BDR, like cold calling, closing deals, that type of side. And then when I was on the on-site consulting, that was more on the customer success side. It was a value-added service, right? It was like the premium implementation integration. It was probably like a light version of what you guys do, coupled with their customer success. And dude, it would 6 to 18 months was like normal. Normal for like six months if you have someone like full on dedicated to doing an implementation, rollout, sharper business, some type of a hierarchy or org chart with like responsibilities and process outlined and something that you could like map and like tie in, and then you could train people on. 18 months for the guy that's like, I bought it for scheduling and to-dos, and then I always wanted to get into this stuff, but I never had the time. So I couldn't agree more, like the customer success side there. But that's why I also say, and I double back down on this, like super optimistic about like the solutions that are out there and that are hopefully being dreamed up when it comes to project management. Because I think like today, like just I think a 6 to 18 month, 2 year, whatever it ends up being, implementation setup to time to value adoption is totally ridiculous with the technology that's available today. And you like the very first thing that you had mentioned when it came to like, how do you approach this project management conversation as user interface, is like, that should be like just the standard at this point, because the way that like artificial intelligence is moving and workflows are getting automated and the technology that's available is like, is UI even going to be the selling point in the future? Or is it going to be how artificial intelligence is taking and leveraging available data to execute workflows? So
yeah. I mean, we're just obviously scratching the surface of AI and what's possible. So, I mean, it's it's like scary exciting of what's possible and what's coming. And the truth is, if we're not jumping onto that today, man, we're missing opportunity in a big way. Like you've got to be adopting fast, right? You know, you do have to.
Yeah. I'm kind of over the like scared of AI phase. Obviously I work for like an AI native product, right? But I think like there was certainly like a component of that. And you see some of the stuff that comes out and you're like, oh shit, like AI can make cold calls and sell stuff, right? And it's like, that's pretty compelling. Yeah. And it's like, no one's safe. But on the other hand, you look at it and it's like the way that AI is getting traction is it's not going to go away. And I think the way that AI is being applied to reduce the tedious, mundane tasks that people typically didn't want to do is the exciting part.
But here's what's beautiful about our industry, right? The industry of builders, remodelers, trades, subs, right? All our subs. This is not an industry that's going to be disrupted, right? We will be building homes. We'll be remodeling homes. There's so much inventory that needs remodeling. We need a lot more homes being built, right? And so like, and you know, of course there's 3D printing, and there's going to be some that like we're going to have all kinds of product shifts and technology inserts, but we still need human beings to build this industry.
100%. And I think like just like today, even before AI, what was the differentiator between finished carpenters 20 years ago?
Right. Yeah.
Who can do it better? Right. It was like, what human is a better finished carpenter? Who has the better eye for detail? Who has the most precise cuts? Who's thinking about the functionality of whatever they're getting ready to finish? Right. It's always been that way. You're so far away from a robot or RPA from actually, and I know we're coming up on time here. I can let you jump in a minute.
No,
but we're so far away from like robots automating this stuff. Again, it goes back to the tedious tasks. It's like you see the, I think 3D printing is too early, but you see these big like machines and they're like, they pour concrete and they set rebar, and they're typically used on like big interstate jobs, right? And it's like this big machine that like just moves and does it. It's like, how many people and how much skill does it take for humans to tie in rebar and pour concrete, right? That seems like something that's reasonable for a robot to do, right? At a probably like more consistent output and a more quality, like that makes sense to do. When it comes to our industry with residential and like actual like hands-on contractors, is like, you're still the differentiator is the human. And that's the argument now is like the trade pool is so low because there's not that many skilled people. It's like, we'll start training them. Like,
well, and if you think of future here, right? Like if you look at where private equity money is going, the big capital money, it's going into this industry and the trades. And why is that? Because they see it as the long-term future of undisrupted business that is so beautiful for us in our world that it's just, we need to build our machines out. And I mean our businesses as machines, right?
Totally.
Like, we've got to think about it differently. And, if we leave, your listeners with anything, I think, like, to me, biggest takeaways here, there's two keys. Become financial literate, like really understand the dials in your cockpit. We use the terminology all the time. You would not jump on a plane, right, if the pilot did not understand his or her dials in their cockpit, right?
Totally.
Yet we're flying the plane of our businesses every day, not understanding those dials. So we are very unsafe in our business if we don't have financial literacy. It's impossible to make intelligent business decisions that help you grow and scale without financial literacy. It's completely impossible. So until we have that, we are going to struggle no matter what. We're probably never going to get to where we want to go ultimately. And we're going to have that smaller vision, and we may achieve that, but we'll never get to a vision that was beyond our wildest dreams today. And the truth is that's available if we get these things dialed in. Financial literacy, business savvy. we've got to be able to transition from contractor to entrepreneurial leader. If we can do those two things, our whole world can change, because we're going to see things differently that we could never see before without financial literacy and business savvy.
Totally. I couldn't agree more. And again, like that's just kind of our world. So I guess there's maybe some like assumed bias here, but it's the truth. It's like, if you don't know what you're scaling, what in the hell are you scaling it? If you don't know your financials, if you don't have an entrepreneurial mindset,
it's tough.
You're building a lifestyle business.
It's really tough.
I was at the Sunbelt show just literally this week, and SABC the week before, and a lot of the builders I was talking to, I asked them a question. There are typically two buckets. Either you're monetizing a hobby or you're building a business. Which one do you fall into? And they're like, well, what do you mean? I was like, monetizing a hobby is like you're making money, you're supporting a lifestyle. Like, it's not like necessarily repeatable, or you're looking at P&Ls and balance sheets, can't really make sense of it, whatever it might be. And then when you're building a business, is like you are creating and producing and selling a product to the decimal of a percentage profit margin, product in, product out. And your goal is to scale and grow. And it was like 60% of them were like, I'm definitely in monetizing the hobby.
Sure.
And it's like, and how do you get out of that?
To no fault of their own of where they were, where they are. But when you hear this podcast or you hear other people talking about this, what I always want to do is we have to drop this message in, so that hopefully that it shifts a mindset. It says, oh, that clicks. I might have heard it several times before, but it just clicked today. And I hope for someone it clicks today to go, shit, that makes sense. Or that's something I get. I need to take that to that next level, and I can do extremely well. The other thing in this business, I can make a really good living, monetizing my hobby, as you say, right?
Totally.
But I will never make a fortune. And if you're in the 4-level world, we're here to help you make a fortune, not just a living.
I love it. I think we leave it there. Randy, this was great, dude.
Awesome, man.
We'll have to get in touch again. This was good. It was good.
Please do.
Chatter back and forth.
Yeah. There's lots of roads we can go down, and I wish we had a lot more time, honestly, because there's so much to uncover in this world. Totally.
I'll reach out to you. Actually, and before we let you go, where can the listeners find you guys?
Find us at website, the number 4levelcoach.com. You can reach out to me directly. I'm happy to chat with anyone. My email, Randy Stanbury, Stanbury at gmail. Randy at 4levelcoach.com. Man, I was all messed up there. Yeah, Randy at the number 4levelcoach.com. Yeah, please, reach out to me. Happy to jump on a call. I love doing assessments, right? Looking at a business and saying, hey, where do I have holes in it? What would have to change? Whether you want to work with us or not, or move forward or not, we can always do a quick 30-minute assessment call.
Yeah, I love it. I appreciate you, Randy. I'll let you get back to it. Thanks for jumping on the pod.
Cheers, and appreciate you too. Thanks, guys.
See you, dude.